y'all, welcome to Little Lola's Kitchen. Hurricane Florence came through North Carolina this weekend. It was downgraded to a tropical storm, and I'm in Raleigh, so I'm pretty far from the coast, but it has been raining for the last couple of days. So I'm using the storm as an excuse to stay home and do nothing. And by nothing, I mean not leave my house or be social. So tonight I'm going to be both cooking and baking, but I'm going to try to keep them as separate videos. So I'm going to be doing snippets back and forth, so hopefully I don't get too confused. So the first thing that I'm going to be making is a hibiscus chiffon cake with a rose frosting, and I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to add some dried lavender either into the hibiscus cake or as a glaze before I frost it. That will be determined as the process goes on. As usual, this is kind of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. I do have to credit Tiffany with the idea of her making hibiscus cake. So I have dried hibiscus flowers here, which I poured boiling water out of from my tea kettle. I'm gonna let this steep for, usually hibiscus tea, I think you only steep about a minute. See how it's already got this beautiful hot pink color? It does infuse its flavor and color into water pretty quickly, but I want to make sure I have a really nice strong concentrate because there's only about 3/4 cup of liquid in the entire chiffon cake, so I want to make sure that there's plenty of flavor. So I'm going to let this steep for several minutes here, maybe even up to like 5 or so, and I'll check back in with you as I go through the process. Hey y'all, so it's back to the cake. I steeped my hibiscus tea, which I showed you earlier. I'm going to show you, look at this beautiful color that it turned out. So this is just sifted cake flour, baking powder, salt, and sugar. Quick little tip, you can always take 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of sifted all-purpose flour to replace cake flour. So that's what I did. I never buy like multiple kinds of flour. And so then I'm going to beat into that. This is 3/4 cup of my hibiscus mixture, or hibiscus tea, strong hibiscus tea, some vanilla bean paste, oil, and egg yolks. So I'm just gonna pour this in. I already pre-mixed it, and you're supposed to beat this in a mixer. I only have one bowl for my stand mixer right now, and I didn't feel like getting out my other mixer. So I'm just gonna put some elbow grease into it and beat it by hand with my whisk, but you're supposed to beat it pretty good, so I'm really going to get in here good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off and give it a little bit more muscle for another minute or two until it's well beat, and then I'll show you the next step. So my cake mix came out kind of purple, so I'm going to beat in some red, hot pink, and orange food coloring. Still kind of purple, but just brightened it up just a little bit. I do want it to have some nice color when it cooks. I'm gonna make the frosting pink too, but just a little bit of color. Hey y'all, so now I'm beating 8 egg whites and half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. I put a little bit of pink food coloring in it. I'm gonna whip this until very stiff, and then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar and keep beating it until it's so stiff it almost loses its shininess. I really want these really stiff, and then I'm going to fold them into the batter, which I already pre-mixed, and I'm going to pour it into a soup pan and bake it at 325. Hey all, so I already folded about 1/4 of the egg white mixture into the cake batter portion. You can see that I've got this egg white mixture pretty matte. It's not shiny anymore. So I'm going to put the rest of it into this bowl, the rest of the cake batter. See how nice and stiff those egg whites are? Egg pinks are. I I like pink, y'all. So, put this all in here. And just gonna kind of fold it in. So the idea is you don't want to totally lose the volume of those beautiful whipped egg whites. You do want to blend your cake batter into the white somewhat. You don't want like huge clumps of just egg white, because that's going to cook kind of funny. So folding is really kind of a unique art. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to bring it over here and add it to my tube pan. Are kind of hard to fill, to be quite honest. You don't want it to go down the middle, and you don't want to get it too far up the sides and have extra batter that's going to burn or anything like that. So just scrape this off. And again, you want to be pretty gentle with the batter. You don't want to kill that beautiful volume you have with your egg whites, but I do want to try to level this out just a little bit. I actually did a pretty good job getting it in this pan, but I'm just very gently dragging my spatula over the top. And then I'm going to put this in the oven and see how it turns out. So I'm attempting to make a Rose Ricotta Buttercream. So this is, I creamed the butter, I added ricotta, I added pink food coloring, and I added 3 tablespoons of pure rose extract. I whipped that up, and now I'm going to beat in a whole bunch of powdered sugar and see what we come up with. So I ended up adding a little bit of vanilla bean paste too. Very rosy, it's very sweet. I'm thinking that the cake isn't going to be very sweet. It's not a super sweet cake anyway, and the hibiscus is tangy. And so with this on top, we'll see what happens. Now I'm making a lavender glaze. So this is dried lavender, a little bit of butter, some powdered sugar, and water. I put some purple food coloring in it. Part of the reason why is I'm hoping to put just enough of this. I'm going to slice the cake into multiple layers and put the frosting in between. I really kind of want the glaze only to be in the top layer, but I think I'm going to add it before I slice it. I haven't decided yet. But if I do, I want to be able to, I want to just put just a little bit of glaze on the top, so hopefully it always sinks into that top layer. And so I made it this dark purple color so that I can see how far it seeps into the cake when I go to slice it, if it made it past where I'm hoping to cut the top layer, or if it just stayed up there where I want it to be. Oh my God, y'all, I can't wait for you to see this. It's so beautiful. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna touch it on top. It's gonna spring back. It feels nice and dry on top. So I'm going to pull it out of the oven and flip it upside down on top of a bottle and let it cool. Alright y'all, the cake is out of the oven and upside down. I always get a little nervous flipping them upside down that they're gonna like fall out and die because they're not cooked enough. I cooked this about 5 more minutes after I talked to y'all because the crease there looked a little overly moist to me. So I did cook it for 5 more minutes. It's now out. It's upside down on my natural vinegar. And it's going to cool there for a while. Y'all, I just thought I was recording and I wasn't. So I just sliced, this is actually 2 layers together. I just sliced the top 2 layers off of this cake. I am currently layering, or not layering, adding just a little bit of hibiscus syrup, which is just the hibiscus tea with some powdered sugar mixed in. The next time I make this, if I make it again, I would boil the hibiscus into this to include in the cake versus just steeping it the way that I did this time. I didn't get enough hibiscus flavor coming through into the cake. I ended up adding some vanilla to the cake as well as the hibiscus, which I was afraid might mask the hibiscus, but I think the hibiscus flavor just wasn't strong enough in general. So I don't want to soak this cake. It's already super, super moist. So I'm just trying to add just the tiniest little bit of this hibiscus syrup to each place on the cake so that you get a little bit of the flavor, but without fully saturating the entire cake. So I just want the whole top of this to turn hot pink to indicate that I've gotten that part of the cake, but I really don't want this oozing all the way through or soaking in. This cake is plenty moist without the glaze. So the glaze is just for the flavor. Sometimes you need glaze for a cake because it's not moist enough. That is not the case with this cake. This cake is super moist and fluffy. It actually came out really well as far as the texture of the cake. It was the first time making a chiffon cake. So I'm going to ice this layer with my Rose Ricotta Buttercream, and then add the next layer. I'm going to do the rose hibiscus syrup on the second layer as well, and then I'll check back in with you as I do lavender on the top layer. Here I am adding the final glaze to the final layer. The lavender glaze is dried lavender, butter, powdered sugar, and water that I just cooked together. So I'm just drizzling it in. I want it to drip down the sides. I'm going to make this a naked cake on the sides. I did dye it purple, like I said before, because I wanted to see the difference between the lavender and the hibiscus. This is mostly decorative at this point. I want some purple drips down the side. What do you think, y'all? Should I put icing on top or no? I think I'm going to chill it like this and see how it looks in the morning and decide if I'm going to ice the top or not. Hey y'all, it's Steelers football Sunday. Unfortunately, wasn't a very good day for us. And I went to my local Steelers bar, which is a good time, but we just didn't play well. So I'm finishing up this rose hibiscus cake. Well, you really can't see what I'm doing. I apologize. I am cutting the top in some stars. I think this cake was an experiment. And I think if I make it again, I need to make the hibiscus flavor in the cake itself stronger and make the rose flavor in the icing more subtle. So, been a learning process. It's kind of fun, you know, to make a totally new kind of cake, something I've never made before, something I've never had before, or even heard of. So, I wouldn't call this a failure at all. It's been fun. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to cut it just for me to try it. I'm going to take it into work. I'm not really sure I want other people eating it, but it also seems a little decadent to cut into it myself. One piece of it, maybe I'll just throw the rest of it away. I don't know if it's going to be that bad or not, though. So I gotta decide what I'm going to do with this. So this is the rose hibiscus cake. Hibiscus cake with layers of hibiscus glaze, rose frosting, hibiscus cake, rose glaze, hibiscus glaze, rose frosting, hibiscus cake, lavender glaze, rose frosting. I left the outside unglazed and let the purple lavender glaze drip down the cake for a little bit of a naked cake appearance. The cake, the consistency of the cake turned out perfect. It's really fluffy but also moist. The ricotta buttercream has a really nice consistency to it. I put a little bit too much rose flavoring in it. It was my first time using rose flavoring, so I think I didn't know how much to use, so that was a learning process. And the hibiscus cake itself didn't have a super strong hibiscus flavor. However, the hibiscus glaze that I added did bring out that hibiscus flavor, and so it was good. I'm really hard on myself when I bake, so I wasn't a huge fan. I already had things, even before I tasted it, I had things that I knew I wanted to change the next time I made it. My friend Tiffany, who's a fantastic baker, runs her own custom cake business, came over last night and we had a slice of the cake each. And she liked it. She didn't think that the rose frosting was too strong, so it might just be a matter of opinion for me. Regardless, I had a really fun time making it. I had never made a chiffon cake before. I had never made a ricotta buttercream before, which is actually just something I dreamt up on the spot. A quick Google search indicated that someone else had done it before in life, and so that gave me the confidence to go ahead and plow ahead with it. I didn't follow a recipe for it. I did search to see if ricotta buttercream was even a thing, and somebody else had made it a thing at some point in time, so I tried it. And it was really fun to get to use rose flavoring for the first time. I've used rose water a few times, and I've made rose tea, but I had never really used rose flavoring. So this is the, I don't think I showed you guys when I was making the cake. This is the pure rose extract that I ordered from this company, Olive Nation. I ordered actually some really great things. I ordered the pure rose extract, some pure maple extract, organic vanilla bean paste puree, and pure coconut extract. So I have some new ingredients to play with coming up. I'm excited for that. So it's super fun to get to use the rose flavoring, the hibiscus flowers in the cake. This is definitely a great experiment. I will definitely tweak this before I make it again, but I think I probably will make this cake again. So, fun learning experience. Thanks for playing along with me. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Love you lots. Bye.